Hey there, welcome to Warfare Wednesday with your host, Taisha Morales. Today, I'd like to share a thought on one of my favorite passages in one of my favorite people, the Bible. So if you will join me to Psalms 34:1, it is a psalm written by David. And he wasn't on the throne and he wasn't being celebrated, but it's one written when he was in survival mode. It's not a comfort verse either. It's a comeback verse. David was in a cave, hunted, humiliated, hiding. And what impresses me is that he still says, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. That's not emotion. That's decision. And that's not convenience. That's covenant. And it's definitely not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of warfare. David chose to bless the Lord, not because everything was right, but because God was still righteous. Not because he felt safe, but because he knew who his safety was. He didn't wait for the cave to turn into a crown, nor waited for the threat to disappear. He chose praise in spite of what was going on around him, because praise wasn't a reaction. It was a revelation. David didn't negotiate praise with his emotions. He didn't ask his feelings for permission. He understood praise doesn't belong to our mood. It belongs to God. And in that moment, he couldn't afford not to praise. His survival depended on it. His sanity depended on it. And the legacy that he would leave depended on it. Praise was his lifeline, his strategy, and his surrender. Many of us, we treat praise like a transaction. If I feel good, I'll give it. But David teaches us that praise is not a response to comfort. It's a declaration of covenant. It's not about how we feel. It's about who he is. It's covenant over circumstance, decision over delay. Praise is how we fight when we have no words left. Because praise reminds hell that heaven still has our attention. So today, I want to encourage you to take a few minutes, not to vent, not to rehearse the pain, but I would like for you to write down your praise declaration. One sentence. Use that as your weapon. Use that as your war cry. I don't know your storm. I don't know your battle. I don't know the giant you're facing. I don't know the season that you're going through. But there's one thing that I do know. There is power in a praise. Praise changes everything. It shifts atmospheres, it silences the lies, and it summons heaven. So take a moment and write down your praise declaration. It could be something as, I praise you in the silence because you speak louder than my fear. I will bless you in the battle because you never lose. I worship you in the waiting because delay is not denial. And once you have that written down, say it out loud. Say it in your cave. Say it in your car. Say it in the midst of your chaos. Declare it. And this week, let your praise interrupt your patterns. Let it be your protest, your prophecy, your posture. I will bless the Lord at all times, not because it's easy, but because he's worthy. Because praise is how I fight.